തന്നില്ല.
നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ലാബിന്റെ വർക്ക് ബുക്ക് ആർക്കെങ്കിലും ഇനി ആവശ്യമുണ്ടോ? ലാബിന്റെ കേസിൽ എനി റിക്വയർമെന്റ്സ് ഫോർ ലാബ് വർക്ക് ബുക്ക് എല്ലാവരും വാങ്ങിയിട്ടുണ്ടോ? 2 ബുക്ക് വർക്ക് ബുക്ക് ഒന്ന് കമന്റ് ചെയ്തേ. റിക്വയർമെന്റ് ഇല്ല എന്നാണോ അതോ വാങ്ങിയെന്നാണോ? റിക്വയർമെന്റ് ഉള്ളവര് ആരെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ? മൈക്ക് ടേൺ ഓൺ ചെയ്ത് പറഞ്ഞു. എല്ലാവരും വാങ്ങിയിട്ടില്ല. എത്രയാണ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടത്? നിങ്ങൾക്ക് 2 എണ്ണോ വേണ്ടതെങ്കിൽ അതൊന്ന് ടൈപ്പ് ചെയ്താൽ മതി, എത്രയാണ് വേണ്ടെന്നുള്ളത്. എല്ലാവർക്കും 2 ലാബാണ് ഉള്ളത്. 2 വാങ്ങിയിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ 2 എന്ന് ടൈപ്പ് ചെയ്യുക. ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു.
Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to discuss about typical values of APAM parameters. See, in the last class we have discussed about ideal values of APAM. In that we have discussed about internal impedance, means input impedance, output impedance, gain, slew rate, CMRR, etc. You know that the gain of the op-amp, ideal op-amp, is infinity, but in practical, infinity gain cannot be achieved. Okay, the typical values of the gain is 1 lakh to 2 lakh. Okay, so the typical values is 1 lakh to 2 lakh, and ideal value is infinity. Next is, so first typical value is typical value. See, typical value. Is it clear to you? Typical value is, first one is gain, and the typical value of the gain is 1 lakh. 1 lakh to 2 lakh. This is the typical value, okay? So this is the typical value of the gain. Next is, second one is input impedance. So we know that its ideal value, the ideal value of the input impedance was infinity, but in practical case it is not infinity. See, its value is near to 10 mega ohm. Okay, this is the typical value of the input impedance. Similarly, the output impedance typical value. See, output impedance, you know that the output impedance value, in ideal case we have discussed that the ideal value for the output impedance is 0 ohm, but it is not achieved. The output impedance is not 0 ohm, it is nearly 10 ohm or 10 to 100 ohm. Next is fourth one. See, input bias current. We have discussed that I1 equal to I2 equal to 0 in the case of ideal values, but in the case of typical values, I1 and I2 not equal to 0. Rather, it is between 10 to 500 nano ampere. So the value of the current is in the nano ampere range, and its value is in between 80 to 500 nano ampere. Okay, so it is a small value. Next, also we have discussed about slew rate. Slew rate is, the slew rate value is infinity. In the case of ideal, in ideal case, slew rate value is infinity. But practically or typically we can say that its value is 0.5 volt per microsecond. So actually this, what is this slew rate? Slew rate represents the rate of change of output, rate of change of output. So slew rate is the rate of change of output. So since it is specified in terms of rate, so we can say it can be represented by dV by dt. So with respect to time, how the output voltage is changing, that is what slew rate indicates. See, if you are giving a square wave, if you are giving a step wave or square wave as the input, if it is this input, and if this input value, usually in the case of op-amp, we are dealing with a difference in the input, okay? So if you are giving, if the voltage is Vd, the difference in the voltage at the terminals of the op-amp is Vd. See? So when we are giving it as the input, the output will not be rise. See, you can see here that this point the value was 0 and then it is increased to this Vd value, okay? So when we are dealing with the practical case, that output will not change very fast. So it will take some time to reach its maximum value. So you can see here. So here at this point it reaches its maximum value. From there it has to go to the 0 value, but it will be going to 0 like this. So that means it will take some time to reach from maximum to minimum value. So that change or that time is represented by the slew rate. So it is the rate at which the output voltage changes with respect to time. So it actually represents the speed. Okay. So this is the slew rate. Next quantity in the typical value. See, we have discussed about a common mode rejection ratio value. Okay, CMRR. So sixth one is CMRR. CMRR. What is CMRR? CMRR is common mode rejection ratio. So it is the actually represents the ability of the op-amp to reject common mode signals. You know that in the case of op-amp, see, we are if we are representing the op-amp like this, actually I am not showing the voltages or supplies here. See, V1 and V2 is giving. In the ideal case, we know that if we are giving, suppose we are not dealing with ideal case, if we are giving V1 equal to V2 condition, then V1 minus V2 will be 0, so the gain will be maximum. If there is a case such that V1 not equal to V2, then V1 minus V2 will be appearing at the input side. So there will be some value for this case. If V1 not equal to V2, there will be some difference or there will be some input to this op-amp. Even though the CMRR is equal to 0 means it will reject the common mode signals. That is its meaning. See, if the inputs are not equal, even though the output is 0, that means that indicates the CMRR. Well, that parameter or that ability is indicated by the CMRR. That means it indicates the ability of the op-amp to reject the common mode signals. That is represented by the CMRR. In ideal case, its value is infinity, but practical in typical value of CMRR is 90 dB. Actually, it is represented in log magnitude value. That is why it is taken in dB value. So CMRR value is 90 dB. Okay. So these are the typical values of the parameters. So first is the gain. Its value is in between 1 lakh and 2 lakh. And next is input impedance. Next output impedance. Next bias current. So you can write here is bias current. Bias current. So this is I bias. Okay. I bias. So it is a small value, not 0, and slew rate and CMRR. Okay. So you can also write the definition of slew rate and CMRR. So this is all about these typical values. Okay. Next we can go to see. Next, we can go to equivalent circuit of an op-amp. So next heading is equivalent circuit of op-amp. So you can write notes when I am writing here. See, equivalent circuit of an op-amp. So you know that op-amp has a maximum input impedance and a minimum output impedance. So we have to represent the input. We have to represent the impedances or resistances. So at the input side, there will be a resistance, and at the output side also there will be a resistance. And actually inside the op-amp there will be different stages: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, like that. Input stage, intermediate stage, phase shifting stage, and output stage. So these all are represented by the voltage controlled voltage source. So first we can draw the equivalent circuit. So we have to represent these quantities. Okay, see, first we have to represent the input resistance. So at the input side we can draw a resistance. Okay, so this is the resistance. So this is, here we can represent inputs V1, V2. Okay, and the resistance is R in. So this is the input resistance R in. Next, what we can draw is at the output side we can represent a voltage controlled voltage source, and its polarity is plus minus, and there is an output resistance like this. Okay, and this is the output. Okay, so this is the equivalent circuit. Sorry, before that, see, sometimes now I am drawing. Sometimes in the equivalent circuit we will be representing a capacitor. Now you have to see, we will be representing an equivalent capacitor like this, and actually this capacitance represents the parasitic capacitance of BJTs present inside the op-amp. Now we are not drawing this capacitor, we will be discussing it later in the frequency response curve. Now we can draw like this. See, now simply we are drawing this output resistance and this voltage controlled A into VID, and simply we can represent it like this. So this is R out, we can draw it as R out. Okay, and okay, this one is, this is V out. You know about the pins. V1 is the non-inverting input, V1 is non-inverting input, so it is at the point 2, pin number, when we are drawing the pin number it is 2, and here is the inverting input, and it is at pin number 1. So pin number 2, 3, so pin number 3, and the output is at the 6th pin. Okay, this is the equivalent circuit of the op-amp. Okay, actually this is A into VID. What is this VID? Actually this VID represents the difference in these voltages V1 and V2. VID actually represents, VID is equal to V1 minus V2. Okay, this is the difference in voltage. What is its meaning? Actually it is a, you can see this is a voltage dependent voltage source. So its value depends upon this input voltages, that is V1 minus V2 is equal to VID. So A is the gain, open loop gain of this op-amp. So this is the equivalent circuit of this op-amp. So we can write it, output voltage V out is equal to A into VID. Okay, output voltage is equal to A into VID, where VID is equal to A into V1 minus V2. So this is the equivalent circuit and corresponding equation. Also, when you are drawing the equivalent circuit, you have to mark the plus VCC and minus VEE, and these all are the power supply connections. Okay, This is the equivalent circuit of the op-amp. Next, we will discuss about voltage transfer characteristics of the op-amp. Anybody having doubt up to this point? Anyone having doubt? Okay. Next, we can draw voltage transfer characteristics of op-amp. Voltage transfer characteristics of op-amp. Voltage transfer characteristics of op-amp. See, we can draw the voltage transfer characteristics of op-amp like this. So basically this voltage transfer VTC, voltage transfer characteristics is VTC. You can, so it has two regions. The op-amp has a different BJTs inside, and also capacitors, resistors will be inside the op-amp. You know about the internal block diagram of the op-amp, and when it is working, it will be working in the two regions. First is the active region. Transistors inside the op-amp will be working in two regions, active region, and second one is saturation region. So when we are drawing the voltage transfer characteristics, see, you can see here that in the active region, see, actually this is the curve between differential voltage. First of all, you have to say differential input voltage. It is a curve between voltage transfer characteristics is a curve between differential input voltage and output voltage. Okay, first you have to write it. So whenever the differential input voltage is increasing, the output voltage is increasing. After a particular output voltage, see, once the output voltage reaches, you know, the op-amp diagram is like this. So here will be VCC plus VCC, and here will be minus VEE, and here V1, here V2, and this is the V out. Okay, this is 741 op-amp, and usually we will be giving 15 volt or minus 15 volt as the power supply. So whenever we are giving the input V1 and V2, whenever this difference between this input voltage is increasing, so correspondingly the output voltage will also be increasing, but it will not increase up to infinity. See, even though its gain is infinity, but practical case it will not increase up to infinity. Whenever the input voltage reaches plus V volt or plus VCC, whenever the input difference in input voltage reaches plus VCC or minus VCC, then the transistors inside the op-amp will go to saturation. That is output transistors. The final stage output transistor will go to saturation. So the output voltage will be 1 or 2 volt less than the maximum voltage. See, here the input voltage is increasing, so the output voltage is increasing like this. Once it reaches plus VCC or minus V, once it reaches, in the case of positive direction, we are seeing once it reaches plus VCC, so the output side transistors inside the op-amp will be going to saturation. As a result, it will be giving a saturation voltage of plus 13 volt or minus 13 volt. Okay, so here 15, if you are giving 15 volt, then 1 or 2 volt less voltage will be giving us VSAT. So this voltage is VSAT. So when you are doing the experiment in lab, you can see when you are giving 15 volt, you will be getting 13 volt here. Okay, similarly, in the case of difference, if the difference is negative, that means if V1 is positive and V2 is negative, and if V2 voltage is higher, then you will be getting a negative differential input voltage. So whenever the differential voltage is increasing in the negative side, in that case also the output voltage is also increasing. But when the output voltage reaches minus VEE or minus VE, then the transistors inside the op-amp will go to saturation. As a result, it will give an output voltage of minus VSAT. Okay, actually this minus VSAT or saturation voltage will be 1 or 2 volt less than the maximum voltage. So it will be minus 13 volt. So you cannot write minus 13 volt or plus 13 volt here. That is in the case of lab experiment. And you can simply write a VSAT and you can represent it. The maximum voltage plus minus V minus VEE, and here the maximum voltage is plus VEE plus VCC, and so this level VSAT will be 1 or 2 volt less. You can indicate it like this. Okay, you cannot write the exact value, that depends upon the power supply we are giving. Okay, 1 or 2 volt less. Okay, so this is the curve. So this represents the saturation region. So after that saturation point, the output voltage remains the same or output voltage is saturated. Okay, so this is the VTC curve. So this represents the active region, and this is the saturation region, saturation region. Okay, so this is the VTC, voltage transfer characteristics of the op-amp. Okay, you can draw it. So you have to know the points that I am saying. Okay, so next we will go to the different open loop configurations of op-amp. See, so first is open loop configuration. So what is open loop configuration? That means there is no connection between the input side of the op-amp and output side. That means there is no feedback from the output of the op-amp to input of the op-amp. Okay, that is open loop configuration. So that means you can simply write like this. See, this is an op-amp, this is plus side, this is minus V1, V2, and this is power supply plus V, and this is minus V, and this is the output V out. So here you can see that there is no connection from the output to the input. Okay, that means that part is open. So this is open loop configuration. In the open loop configuration, there are 3 configurations of the op-amp. First one is differential amplifier configuration. Differential amplifier. And second one is inverting amplifier. Third one is non-inverting amplifier. So there are 3 configurations. First is differential amplifier, second is inverting amplifier, third one is non-inverting amplifier. Okay, so first let us draw differential amplifier. So differential amplifier is used to find the difference between the input signal. So it is similar to the op-amp configuration that I have already drawn here. So let us draw a neat diagram like this. So first is differential amplifier. Differential amplifier. In that we can draw it like this, differential amplifier. So R1, V1. Similarly, we can draw R2, then V2. Then here is the positive. This is plus VCC. This is minus VEE. This is V out. So this is the differential amplifier configuration. You can see here that 2 voltages, V1 and V2, different voltages are giving us the input. So this differential amplifier, there is no feedback path. So this is open loop configuration. So this amplifier, this op-amp will amplify the difference between V1 and V2. You can see here that this is AC voltages. You know that op-amp can work both in DC and AC voltage, work on DC and AC voltage. If the frequency is less, then the input will be DC, and if it is higher, then it will be AC. So here the output Vout will be equal to simply, if A is the gain, A into V2 minus V1. So this is one configuration, that is differential amplifier. Okay. Next one is, you can see, actually this R1 and R2, actually this R1 and R2 represents the internal resistance of the source. Okay. So you can like this R1 and R2, R1 and R2. And next configuration is inverting amplifier. So let us draw the inverting amplifier. You can draw this differential amplifier. Next is inverting amplifier. See, next I will draw inverting amplifier. Inverting amplifier. So how can inverting means the input will be inverted. So we have to see here. Here the output will be V1 minus V2. See, when the input will be inverted, whenever there is no input to this positive side, positive pin. Okay. So V1, whenever V1 equal to 0, there is no input to this positive terminal. Only V2 will be coming. So in that case, what is the output voltage? The V2 will be inverted and the output will be inversion of V2, or 180-degree phase shift will be appearing to V2. So we can draw the inverting amplifier like this. So for that, this is positive terminal, this is negative terminal. V1 is equal to 0 means V1, first V1 is equal to 0. So we can draw, it will be grounded like this. We can ground it like this, and V2 is equal to, this is R2 and V2 will be present there. So what is its meaning? So a ground potential is connected to this positive terminal. Ground potential is connected to this positive terminal. So 0 minus, whenever we are finding the difference, 0 minus V2 appearing to this op-amp. So the VD, that is difference in voltage coming to this op-amp, will be 0 minus V2. So negative voltage will be coming here. So that will be amplified. So that our output will be 180-degree phase shift version of V2. So we will be getting inverted version of V2. So that is why we are calling it as inverting amplifier. So for getting the inverting amplifier, what we have to do? We have to ground the positive terminal of this op-amp, that is 2. Okay. So in non-inverting terminal should be grounded, but inverting terminal should have a voltage. Okay. That is the inverting amplifier configuration. Next one is non-inverting amplifier. You can draw it. Okay. How can you draw the non-inverting amplifier configuration? So this is the differential amplifier. For getting the non-inverting, that means the input should not be inverted. For that, what we have to do? We have to ground this negative terminal. Okay. Then we will be getting whatever input is giving to this positive terminal, we will be getting it at the output. Okay. So let us see. Let us draw it. See, this is our op-amp, and this is this is positive and this is negative. We are now drawing non-inverting amplifier. Okay, non-inverting amplifier. So this should be grounded. Inverting input should be grounded, and we will be giving input to this side. Okay. This is V1, this is R1. Okay. Here plus VCC, here it is minus VEE. This is Vout. Okay. This is 741. So this is a non-inverting amplifier configuration. Okay. So you can draw it like this. So it is very simple to understand. Okay. First you have to you study the differential amplifier configuration, then you can directly draw inverting as well as non-inverting configuration. So for inverting, we have to ground a positive terminal. For non-inverting, we have to ground a negative terminal. Okay, that's all about this. This configurations. Actually, you should remember one thing, that this is a source and this R1 represents the internal resistance of the source. So you can simply write this together. V1 together with this R1 represents the voltage source. Okay, voltage source. So voltage sources should have a small internal resistance. So that resistance is shown here. Okay, R1. That's all about this configurations. And here you can write the equation. Here what will be the output? V out will be equal to A into Vd. What is Vd here? Vd, what is here? A into Vd is V1 minus 0. So A V1. So this is non-inverting configuration. And in the case of inverting mode, we will be getting 0 here, and here will be V2 voltages. So minus A V2 will be the output. So that you can write yourself. So these are the three configurations in the op-amp. Next, we will draw the frequency characteristics. Okay, frequency response curve. Okay, frequency response curve. Frequency response curve. Okay, what is this frequency response curve? Frequency response curve. Anybody have idea? Frequency response curve. Frequency response curve represents the change in gain with respect to frequency. Okay, so we are dealing with op-amp, and we will study about the gain of an op-amp. Okay, so we will analyze how its gain is changing with respect to frequency. So that is an important thing. So the frequency response curve represents the change in gain with respect to frequency. Okay, so how the gain is varied with respect to frequency. For that, see, we know that in the internal diagram of op-amp, there will be different stages, and all these stages will have transistor combinations, resistor combination, capacitor combination, like that. So you know that even though we are not represent the capacitance effect, but there will be junction capacitance and stray capacitance in the BJTs. Okay, so there will be, we expect that the gain of the op-amp will be infinity, but in practical cases, the gain will be reducing. That is because of the presence of capacitance in the op-amp. That is due to the components. That means the capacitance is due to the presence of BJTs inside the op-amp. Okay, so we, even though we are not drawing the capacitance effect inside the equivalent circuit, but there will be some capacitance. See, I have drawn the internal equivalent circuit like Ri, this is A VID, and this is R out, and I have drawn it like this. Okay, this was the V1, this is V2. Okay, actually this was the equivalent circuit that I have drawn for the op-amp, but due to the presence of stray capacitance and junction capacitance inside the op-amp, due to the presence of BJTs inside the op-amp, there will be some junction capacitance in the BJTs, and also all these stages, different stages, that is first stage, second stage, third stage, etc., are molded. If we are constructing an IC, or all these stages are packed inside a single substrate. Due to that, there will be some stray capacitance or parasitic capacitance will be there. So we have to count that capacitance effect also. So we can simply draw or redraw the circuit like this, equivalent circuit like this. That is simply for the explanation of this frequency response curve. Okay, so the capacitance can be drawn like this. So V out will be here, V out will be taken across here. So due to the presence of this capacitance, there will be a small reduction in the gain. We expect an infinity gain, or if the gain is not infinity, we expect 1 lakh to 2 lakh is the gain. But once it is working, once the op-amp is working, there will be gradual reduction of this gain, and that is due to this capacitance. Okay, that's the important thing. So we can represent the gain equation of an op-amp. See, we can write this equation. See, the output voltage, once we are working, usually the op-amp can work with any frequencies. It can work from 0 frequency to higher frequencies. So the output voltage, once the frequency is less, is equal to 1 by C omega j divided by R0 plus 1 by C omega j. So actually this was the equation into A0 into VID. This is the output voltage equation for an op-amp when it is working for different frequencies. And here A0 is equal to A equal to V out by VID. And similarly we can write it, this is the open loop gain. So A equal to V out by A equal to A0 by 1 plus j omega R0 into C. By rearranging this equation, we will be getting. See, our time is over. So let us continue this topic in the next class. Let us take the attendance. Okay. Roll number 1. You can say present, miss. Roll number 1. Okay, I will take the names. You can type present, miss.